Welcome to the Big Picture. It is the Kingdom Intelligence Report, and tonight we have one of our most requested and favorite guests. Every time he comes back, it's always landmark. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Stan Deyo is here tonight. We're going to talk about what's going on in Israel. We're going to talk about what's going on with the UFO committee and all the disclosure that's coming. And then we're going to end it. You don't want to go anywhere, because at the very end, we're going to bring a quote from Elon Musk in, talking about this possible craft or some kind of meteor or something. We don't know what it is. It's coming back. And he says it's coming back, and we need to get ready for it. And we're going to talk to Stan about it. Let's go. Big Picture Live. All right. Welcome in. If you have not smashed that like button, go ahead and smash it now. You know the drill. Smash it. Show some love. We appreciate it so much. We want to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome into the house the one, the only, Stan Deyo.
Hey.
Yeah, the crowd is going wild. How you doing, Mr. Stan?
I'm doing well. Probably better than the people out in the garden applauding out there because it's cold outside.
Yes, I can imagine. Oh, yeah, I can imagine out there. You got a lot of snow out there, but it's so good. It's so good to have you back, Stan. You look great, looking good out there in your big studio there, and nothing can ever slow this man down, y'all. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Stan Deyo has lived probably 10 to 15 lives that most people live. And he has just had an incredible life. And to still be giving out information like you're giving is just incredible. So we love to have you come in, and we love to just pick your brain. I've told you this before. There's so many times Stan and I'll be watching the news, and we'll look at each other and almost say it at the same time. We got to ask Stan what he thinks about this, because we just really value you and your interpretation. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And you got some things that you specialize in, but you are interested in everything that's going on in the world in general. But one of the people that I've had you on so many times on our program now, there's two gentlemen that you always talk about. You talk about Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, and you talk about Jared Kushner. And you talk about their connections and the things that they have done together, and even looking at Bible prophecy, the Antichrist, and all of this. You have some very strong opinions on that, but I want to start with MBS. I know that you had to be very, very intrigued by the fact that of all places, the negotiations to end the war in Ukraine between America and Russia, not Ukraine was not invited, was in Saudi Arabia, and MBS had his hands on that. So two-part question. Number one, what did you think when you realized the negotiations for this war? Why did they go to Saudi Arabia? And secondly, do you believe that Jared Kushner has now come back into the scene, where he said he was going to be out of politics, but that he's actually never left it, and him and MBS are still working on the Abrahamic Accords?
Yeah, I guess it's how you define politics. About the middle of 2024, Jared Kushner did about an hour and a half interview with a particular host. I forget his name now. I could probably look it up, but the interview in there, Jared talked about how the Gaza Strip, the Palestinian issue, is going to go, and that it would be settled, that the Hamas and Hezbollah, they would be taken out and permanently removed from governing the Palestinians. They said that when the ceasefire does become permanent, that they're going to rebuild. Now, this is back in 2024. They're going to rebuild Gaza, just level it and put $1 billion or $2 to start off, rebuilding that into a new city and a new city state. And that's just the coastal area, not the one on the West Bank, but both of them are connected because they're part of the Palestinian occupied territory. So he was telling about that as what were going to happen fairly soon, and that he and Mohammed bin Salman would be overseeing that. So, in the meantime, what he has been doing with the help of Mohammed bin Salman and finances from him, they've been setting up business plans for various nations of the Arab region there. About 40 of them. He's been going to them, Kushner has, and saying, look, what do you need? Are you want to get rid of terrorism in your country? Are you needing money for various projects? And he would draw a business plan up for them, how they would reach their objectives, their goals, with the help of Mohammed bin Salman and the United States and Jared Kushner. Now, all of this, of course, couldn't happen until President Trump was sworn in, and that's now happened. But it amazed me that Jared Kushner already knew what they were going to do, and it was just a matter of time. And by setting up these business plans for these various countries, it's giving them, a win-win. And what they're going to do is get rid of all the Hamas, Hezbollah terrorists, and they're going to put in position in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank. They're going to put observer groups from Saudi Arabia, United States, Israel, and these observer groups would live there and watch, the politics to see that no terrorists were elected into office or were able to take control of those governments again. And that would then guarantee the stability in the region. But also remember that Mohammed bin Salman has formed about a 40-nation consortium to fight terrorism. And okay, it's their definition of terrorism. If you are against Islamic states, like United States and Israel,
Wow.
that's terrorism. But they call it just terrorism in general. It's the semantics of what that word means to them versus to us. And we're the enemy. We're the terrorists.
Right.
So, watch what's going to happen. The power in the region is going to consolidate with Saudi Arabia, and Qatar being the in-between, or the interface to the Western world, to this new consortium. Whoever signs this agreement, they're gonna sign the Abraham Accords into a treaty that runs for 7 years. This will be a suck it and see type treaty to see if they can have a peaceful Middle East and world by observing the statutes they will put into that Abraham Accords. It'll be a supra, S-U-P-R-A, a supra agreement for peace for the 7-year period where they will all try these business plans and, peace, love, and harmony, and sing kumbaya and that kind of crap. So that's what they're setting up now. Who signs that? Is it going to be Netanyahu? Is it going to be, well, of course, it'll be him. Is it going to be Mohammed bin Salman? Well, yeah, probably. Is it going to be Jared Kushner? Maybe. Is it going to be President Trump? Well, maybe. Now, whoever signs that peace treaty, according to Daniel, that covenant, is going to be the Antichrist. Now, there are going to be a number of signatories to it, so we don't know which one of the signatories that will end up being the Antichrist. But if Trump signs it, or if I doubt that Musk would sign it, but he's certainly worming his way into government. But let's watch and see of the lead players. Mohammed bin Salman, let's see, Turkey, no, we won't even do that. Erdogan probably won't be signing that. But Netanyahu, okay. Jared Kushner, probably as the organizer, will sign it. But anyway, on my show images page, if you go to standale.com and click under the microphone there where it says show images and go to slide 13, I've laid out a number of possible antichrists for this time. Go down to 13. Further. You'll keep going. And one more. Let's go a little bit further, a little bit further.
I'm going in opposite. Okay, I see it's
opposite. There you go. Right there on the top left.
Yeah.
13. Okay. Now that gives you some of the potential candidates. There's one or two more I might put in later this week. But anyway, those are leaders in this. Now, the Pope is ill. He may die, so he may be withdrawn from thing, so I don't know. But anyway, that's a page reference.
Well, I was going to ask you, did you hear, you said Musk, and we will end the program with something very interesting about Musk in just a moment, but did you hear that Musk has either proposed, I can't remember if it's proposed or he's signed a deal for his underground boring company has agreed to dig a tunnel from Gaza, in the new Gaza, if it happens the way Trump says he wants to do it, straight to the line. What do they call that he's building out there?
To Neom City.
It's straight to Neom City. From Gaza to Neom City, Musk has agreed to build a high-speed tunnel underground to carry people back from Neom to the new Gaza. Have you heard that?
No, I'm just trying to visualize how that would go. It would go to the north part of the Gulf of Aqaba, which would be west of Jordan a bit, and then through the tip of Jordan. Yeah, I can see how they could do that, but I didn't know about that contract. I mean,
That's
that's
crazy.
interesting. It
Very
is.
interesting.
It is.
Very interesting. And it's when you look at Neom and all the things that he's doing out there, it's almost like he's trying to build his own little world kingdom there. I've thought about it many times about how your feelings on him and the Antichrist and so forth. But that's and then of course the Abrahamic Accords. And when I saw him, that of all places, Trump sends his negotiation team, Marco Rubio and all of them, to Saudi Arabia to meet
Mhm.
with the Russian dignitaries to negotiate peace in Ukraine. I just thought that was very unusual, and the first thing I said is, okay, we're going to ask Stan about this because that was unexpected.
Yeah, it does underscore what I've been saying. Is I think that Mohammed bin Salman is going to be the major player in the coming decade, in that in fact worldwide. One of the things that people have just kind of not paid attention to is that the oil reserves for Aramco, Saudi Arabia's oil fields, the oil fields stated reserves are way short of well, they're exaggerated. They have less oil than they're saying that they have in Aramco. And this has been a thing why Mohammed bin Salman has been shifting the source of income to tourism, and other investments in blockchain, that kind of things, so that they're not depending on the oil reserves in Saudi Arabia, because they're way dwindled. They won't let inspectors come in and actually verify the stated reserves of Aramco. Now, the United States, on the other hand, has plenty of oil, and so we're going to be an oil-based economy while they're going to tourism and various other investments that he's been making. And NEOM, of course, is one of those investments, and to have that connected to Gaza, to the new Palestine, does tell you that they're going to be a major player in the new government over there. Now, if I were MBS, I would be concerned that a tunnel is going to come from Gaza Strip over to Saudi
Right.
Arabia to Neom, because that gives the terrorists a high-speed tunnel to come,
Right.
whipping over to Saudi Arabia. They don't want them either. I mean, nobody wants the Gaza Strip people.
Can I ask you that, Stan? Stan and I've wondered that too. I don't want to sound cruel because human beings are human beings. People are people. But why is it that no one wants them? I mean, Jordan doesn't want them. Uh, Saudi Arabia doesn't want them. Egypt doesn't want them. Why is it that no one wants to take them in? Is there something about the Palestinian people that call themselves Palestinian people that it's just really crazy to me, or is it they just don't want to give up the pawn that they
No,
used them for?
no, uh, the the Palestinians are they really have no claim to the land over. They came from various countries. They are primarily Shiite Muslims, which are warfare type Muslims. They're not, a Sunni who are more peaceful. You can get along with them. But basically, they come from Iran, Iran control. But they owe no allegiance to anybody. They're renegades. They're terrorists, even to the Islamic terrorists in the area. They had a long-standing thing with Egypt too, and Egypt didn't want them to come back. Um, so they're a hodgepodge of various peoples that have
Mm.
come there, and I suppose that's why nobody wants them, because they're just trouble. They are used to getting their way by terror, and just nobody wants the problem. It's not land or anything else. It's the fact that they're a destabilizing influence in any culture they go to, because
Mm.
they're like terrorists that mean to harm people to get their way to a one world Islamic state, which is run by the Shia. I call them the Shia guys. They can't be trusted, and they lie, and they'll use a self-destructive vest and that kind of stuff. And already there's things happening in Tel Aviv where buses that are
Yeah.
occupied at the moment are
Yeah.
being burned down in the barnyards there for the buses. So they they have one objective, and it's their objective, and they do not change. They'll make agreements, they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal, but they're just not honorable people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just hasn't worked
No,
trying to
no,
deal with them.
and it doesn't look like it's going to work either. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why Trump and Netanyahu felt to just go ahead and go there with this new plan for Gaza, uh, this Riviera of the Middle East. And
Riviera. Yeah.
wow. I mean, what did you think when you heard that? When I was like, what did he just say? America's going to take over Gaza? What went through
Well,
your mind when you heard that?
it was a bit of a surprise, but knowing what Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, had said for the area, the long-term plan was to, rebuild Gaza and make it a strong, productive region. I did not expect that Trump would offer to buy it. And whether he does or not is another thing. He often starts his negotiations with an extreme version of what he wants
Right.
and settles for less. And so when he said, "Okay, I'm going to buy it, and I'll take care of it," and the other Arab nations in the region thought, "Wait a minute, that's going to give the United States a physical,
Right.
foothold here.
Right.
We can't do that. So how do we stop that?" And that's his negotiating skills, and
Well,
we'll see what happens.
what is your gut feeling about because it's such a powder keg there in Israel with Hamas and all of this, and they're just this piecemeal releasing of hostages, and now the horror of releasing supposedly a mother and two children. The two children were identified by DNA, but then the mother that was called the mother was actually a Palestinian woman. It wasn't the mother, and they faked bringing the body of the mother of these two children, and they're just making the parade out of it. The people are making like a celebration of it and all of this. And it just, to me, it makes it look like, how are you going to find peace here? How is there going to ever be a two-state solution and all that? So my question to you is, before we move into the UFO disclosure and all of that, which is going to be some very interesting things, as we wind down talking about Israel, do you think that Trump in his administration or any administration will ever be able to negotiate any kind of peace there, or is it it's just never going to happen?
Well, according to the Bible, the Antichrist of this age will bring a temporary peace to the region with some sort of a plan. And, that is coming. And whoever does that will be identified by the people of Earth as a super politician, a wonder kid, who can come in and solve all this. That has been a problem between the Arabs and the Israelis for what, 2,000, 3,000 years over property disputes from the time of Abraham. Well, um, Isaac and Ishmael out of Abraham, but yeah, when I started seeing Trump take a strong position there, I thought, wow, the people are going to say, who could do such a thing? Who has, the mental ability and the resources to do this? Well, um, a very rich and powerful man would do that. And I know that the new Antichrist of this age will be like a modern Solomon. He will be rich. He will be
Mm-hmm.
smart. In Revelation 13 does talk about, here's the name of the beast, the number of the beast, and
Mm,
it points you back to King Solomon in the Bible. And so that's why I looked at various people in the Middle East whose name would be a variation of Solomon, Shaman,
mm,
Mohammed bin Salman, his family there.
wow.
And that's why I kind of settled on him. Now, Bashar Assad has been dethroned in Syria, and he's under the care of the Russians, and I think he's coming back into the game. I
Mm,
still leave him on my possible Antichrist list for that reason. Um, so look, it's follow biblical prophecy, and people are going to wonder after this Antichrist who has had a wound to the head and yet, miraculously survives and comes back to full power. I don't know whether a gunshot to the ear would,
right,
count as a head wound, but we
right.
do have to watch this time when Elon Musk has been tasked with setting up a super AI computer system for the United
Yeah,
States.
yeah.
Well, now the beast is going to control the flow of money digitally on the whole planet, and it will be an artificial intelligence
Mm-hmm.
computer. So I'm, when I I see these pieces all coming together rapidly like this, and
Yes,
you wake
yes,
up every day, there's something new.
yes.
Consolidating power, having more control over people, and we can justify a lot here because of what the Democrats were allowed to do, destroying, the United States, and the ethics and everything, the economy, and all of this Doge type discoveries about wasteful spending. All these things made people ready for a solution which swings the pendulum
Mm,
all the way the other way. It's going
wow.
to say we've got to get rid of these left-wing communist infiltrators. Okay, and so super strong laws have been put into place to get rid of the baddies. But unfortunately, those laws can be used by some other person that takes over to harm people,
Yeah.
to afflict people.
And you're talking about Musk. It's just like I say it all the time. He's either being used by God, and I think he is being used by God to some extent, whether he's voluntarily being used by God or not. But he's either that, or he is the Antichrist, or he's a false prophet, or something. One thing is for sure: his technology is going to be used in the beast system. I mean, it's very interesting that all of his company, I mean, Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, all of these are based in Texas. But one thing is not in Texas, only one thing, and that is the massive complex that is the processing center and the learning center for Grok AI, and that's in Memphis. And that building is called Colossus. He calls
Yes,
his
yes,
Colossus. Come
yeah.
on, think about it. Giant
Well,
Nephilim.
Well, remember the movie in the 70s, Colossus, the Foreman Project, where they had a supercomputer take over. I've been
Yes.
warning you about this, and he's a sci-fi fan, and I'm sure he knew the movie and the implications of calling his computer center Colossus.
Right.
It's just astounding. It's in your face, it's so rapidly, and of course, he's pioneering this thing about having an interface between the human mind and the
Yeah.
internet. A chip in your brain, a connection where you can think
Yeah.
things, and it's it's astounding. I mean, I'm sure these things have been days, weeks, months in the preparation in his calendar, but it's just now coming to the forefront suddenly, and you're thinking, "Wow, how did this happen?"
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
exactly. Well, he was even asked in an interview recently about Colossus, and he literally says this. I wish I had the clip to show it. He literally says in this interview, "Who knows? Who knows? We may we don't know what it's going to process. We may get your next god." He literally says we may produce your next god. And
wow,
he literally says that, and I'm like, "What did
holy
he
cow!
just say?" He said, "We may produce your next god." I'm like,
Well,
"What?"
I'll tell you what, that AI stuff is frightening. It is definitely going to be the beast of the Revelation 13. There's no question about it. And the thing is, today's world and events in the world move so rapidly that
Yes.
you can't run the world by committee. And even if you have a single human, you can't. The mind cannot react to these different problems and analyze all the repercussions and assets and liabilities across a whole planet in time to say launch something to stop an asteroid that's about to hit us, or stop a nuclear war by doing something. So it cries out for an advanced intelligence, an artificial intelligence, to monitor all these sources of information from news, from government, spy rings, whatever, to analyze all this data in real time and to be able to make a wise decision about what you should do, to solve the issues at hand. If you don't do this, then the other country's going to do this, and then there's going to
Mm,
be a war of the AI. So if we don't do any AI ourselves, we're going to be at the mercy of the AI in China, the AI in Europe or in Russia. So we're forced into doing it to, go to balance the power between all the AIs on the planet. And an AI will be involved, I'm sure, in solving the Middle East and giving a peace plan. We don't know, for instance, now whether what President Trump's decisions are being made, and the Doge type stuff, on the basis of what the AI has already said. Do this first, do that first, and it's already planned out the attack on taking over the planet and bringing quote unquote peace to the planet. Uh, and Musk is
yeah.
yeah, I mean, look, he brings to market a Tesla car that is impractical because you can't put all these power stations in. It would cost the national debt 100 times over.
Right.
And yet he flourishes. And I thought, well, what are they doing here? Okay, Tesla cars are short range. We go to the ICLEI cities where people are confined into cities and not out into the producing areas. In the cities, you don't need long travel, so you can have power stations in cities rather than all along in the open country across the United States or Europe or wherever. And so, how did he get the money suddenly to make SpaceX? He just came out of nowhere. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
wouldn't put him in
is.
the Christian camp.
Yeah. And he's been asked repeatedly about God, and he keeps saying, I think there might be something out there that's governing us and all this, but I don't know if I believe in God. And he literally says, I was looking for it to see if I could find the clip. He says basically Memphis, which is the ancient capital of Egypt, may be that's where we will find our new God, and our new God comes from. That
Yeah,
was his quote. That was his quote. I can't find the video, but his quote was, "Perhaps that is where our new God will come from." Wow. So,
yeah, he's a worry. He's a worry.
well,
And
go
I
ahead.
mean, these AIs that we're talking about now are way beyond what they're making public. And in the Foreman project, the Colossus of Foreman project movie, what their AI did was they gave it the power to alter its own programming, and I've warned against this on what they're doing now, because once you take this AI, which is connected to satellites and to data banks all over the planet, once you give it the ability to alter its own programming, uh, you become the servant of it because it can outthink you, and it will take over the planet. Now, you'll have to have probably a human face, and it may interface with a Musk or with a Trump or with a Mohammed bin Salman, or there are a number of people that could be the leader of the world. But with this neural link in its brain, it can move the mouth, make it say things, whatever,
Yeah.
like a puppet.
Right.
And people will wonder after this, be saying, who could make war with it? It's something you can't defeat. So I I've been watching some other things which were trying to put the timing on the rapture and the 7 years of tribulation. Have you looked at the tape that Steve Cicciolanti did on um, the various flags in the Middle East that use the red, green, and blue?
Yes. They all have the same colors. They're all a
Yeah,
variation of the same colors. Yes, which is the colors of the horses. Yes.
yeah.
Very
Now,
interesting.
based on what he discovered this with or figured it out, he puts it at the tribulation period being maybe 2035, up in
Mm,
that region.
mm.
I don't think we can wait that long.
It don't
I
look
agree
like it.
with everything else he was
Yeah.
talking about. It was quite interesting, but I think that waiting for it to happen in 2035 is going to put people to sleep, and that we're going to be clobbered now. We're going to be tricked now. Um, and as I was saying before we went on air, I've been watching a show on the Roku channel or something like that, where you go off the main TV, and for the last year and a half, they've been presenting a number of learned documentaries on uh, flying objects
Mm,
reported, and it's a very erudite type presentation. It's not a golly wow woo woo type thing,
right.
and they are pushing it very hard to say we need to have full disclosure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that I know is going to be the great deception, the beginning of it.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I'm not seeing that wait, another 10 years. There's just no way.
No, well, that's a perfect transition, because I want to put her picture up here. This is Anna Paulina Luna, and Anna Paulina Luna is now been tapped. This goes right along with what you're saying, uh, to lead this platform here that's called to reveal federal secrets. And it goes on to say here, and I'm going to move you over to this side here so we can see the screen just a little bit. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, so it says the task force, which will probe the Jeffrey Epstein client list, JFK, the assassination of JFK, RFK, Martin Luther King. It's also going to reveal the full UFO files. She says in the UFO files, everything we know about Area 51 and UFOs and crafts and biologics, she says she's going to release. And that and the to I guess for shock value to just say that she's serious, she goes, the first thing that we're going to cover in March is the assassination of JFK, and I've already seen the files and everything you've been told is a lie. I know that there was at least two shooters, and the evidence points to two shooters. And then she just went
Is
on.
that you saying? Uh, she said that, or you
She
saying
said
that?
that. No, she
Right.
said that. She literally
Yeah.
said, I'm going to go back to this article and I'll show you the quote from the article. It says here, right there in the middle. I can't hardly see it because of our names, but it says, based on what I have seen, this is her quote, based on what I've seen so far, the initial hearing that was actually held in Congress was faulty in the single bullet theory, Luna said in the press conference. Quote, I believe there were two shooters. I mean, for her to
And one
say
of
that
them.
openly.
Yeah, I know. And look, I've been to the site there, being a Dallas boy, and I the second shot, or the magic bullet, whatever, you'll see that Kennedy's head goes back like
Yep.
that. Now that was from underneath, and there was a rain drain right there, a culvert right where his car was when that happened.
Mm.
Now I had. I used to work at night there, in Dallas after about 1960, 65, somewhere near there. And I would come past a 7-Eleven between my office in town there in Dallas and to my apartment. I would stop at a 7-Eleven and get a midnight snack and talk to the guy that was the attendant there. And we got to be chummy and everything. And we talked about the assassination, and I found out one night that he dealt with the mafia guys. There was one of them that drove up in a Cadillac with a gun in his belt, and he was the guy that took protection money from the restaurants. In fact, he said to me, he was a greasy-looking bastard anyway, but he says, "Look, this is what I do." He says, "Look, here's a list of the restaurants that I collect from. Pick your favorite restaurant, and I'll find you his name here and who pays us." And it was true.
Mm.
And so anyway, I left and went on home thinking, wow, why was I there for that? I didn't want to be involved with the mafia guys. And, weeks passed. And then one morning during the day after, having worked a night and slept, and I was waking up during the daytime to a phone call. And guy used to call me Chief. The guy that worked at 7-Eleven. Anyway, can I come see you? I said, yeah, sure. He comes over to my apartment and he says, look, I know you're connected. And I said, oh, yeah. And he says, I have the handgun that was used to finish off President Kennedy.
What?
And I said, what? He says, yes, it was a 45 caliber pistol. He said, I want to turn this information in, but I want you to do it for me so that that I know I've got a friend. And I said, all right, so who do you want me to turn it over to? He says, well, I think Jim Garrison over in Louisiana would be the right place.
Wow.
So I said, give me your contact details. And so I called Garrison's office and I said, look, maybe nothing, but he says that the coup de grace was done from a culvert there on the Stevens Freeway thing there, and that the man used a silencer and he shot right over the top of the car from that culvert as it passed. And so I gave all that data to Garrison, and then the employee there, the night attendant for 7-Eleven there, disappeared. And I thought, okay, I guess they're interviewing him. I don't know. And a year passed, and he was back at work. He'd gone all white. His hair, yeah, he was stressed and didn't talk about it anymore, and that was it. But I went down into the city there, right where the assassination was taking place, or had taken place, and I took the metal cover off of that culvert, and I dropped down into it to see, if you could
Wow.
see that. I took pictures of it, and oh gosh, I photographed cars coming by, and I said, no kidding, you could shoot right here and hit him right in the throat like that, even. Um,
Wow.
and I looked at, well, how did the guy get out of here? Well, there was an opening, but it was only about 12 inches in diameter at the bottom. And it was a short tube that went into the big tube, the drain tube underneath the street there. And we know from the Warren Commission reports that there was a man stopped carrying headphones, which you'd want to use if you were in a confined like that and shooting a 45 caliber pistol or whatever. And he came running up out of something in the overpass, which was just about, maybe 200 feet or so from that culvert. And he had the security ID for the day, and they let him through. Now that was the guy. He was a thin fellow, they called him the cowboy, because he could stretch out like this. And if someone was down in the main tunnel with a rope, they could pull him through that tunnel like this. He couldn't do it normally, but they could pull him as he stretched his arms out like that. So it is possible. We'll see what she says in the report. But like it or not, I got involved in that. Sometimes I think, Larry, I sit down and look at all the crap I've been in. And I think, I'm living in a virtual reality. This isn't real. I mean, how could one person do that?
Stan Deyo is involved in the JFK assassination investigation. What in the world? I mean, have you not been involved in? You better look out, Stan. They may call you to Washington. You might be in some file somewhere because you talked to, what'd you say his name was, Garrison down in Louisiana? What'd you call it? What was his name? In Louisiana, you said.
Oh, yeah. Now it's gone out of my mind that you said it. It was the one.
Yeah, the one that was in the. It was in that movie, right? He was the guy who was in the movie that was trying to prosecute. Yeah. But yeah,
Jim Garrison.
Look, Jim Garrison. Yeah, Jim Garrison. So you're Anna Paulina Luna, she may be calling on Stan Deyo when she starts going through this paperwork. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Look at the things that I've been able to do in my life, and I marvel. I think it's like a wet dream somebody to have to, dream like a James Bond type life.
Right.
Garden of Eden, Atlantis, Air Force Academy, spy games, just running from intelligence agencies to stay alive. I mean, it reads like a novel. And
it does.
I say to Holly every now and then, she says, "Oh, don't say it. I know what you're thinking. Is this some virtual reality you're living in? This couldn't possibly be real life." And you'd agree with me. This is just such a number of coincidences.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, okay. Well, let's continue there. Do you believe that a hearing like this, for them to come out in this time, you were talking about how rapidly things are moving, for them to openly say all these things from 9/11 to the origins of COVID to UFOs to aliens, to the assassination attempts, and she went on basically everything that would ever call somebody a conspiracy theorist. She put it out there and she said, "We're going to investigate it and tell you the truth about all of it." Do you think that's a distraction? Do you think that's a psyop? Or do you think that has to happen in order to rapidly excel this disclosure deception? Is it going to happen?
Oh, it's part of that. Look, I know the description when the information is brought public, full disclosure for this new world government to form, that one of the things they're going to do is to appeal to the right wing, conspiracy theorists like myself, who said, there's a deep state here. What they're doing it now. They're getting rid of the deep state. They're breaking out the secrets. They're saying, we're getting rid of the baddies. Trust us. Okay. And let's face it, we'd like to see the bad guys taken out and all this illegal stuff they're doing stopped, return to rationality. And that's part, the leading edge of the disclosure, the takeover, the great, deception. To get our vote, the conservatives, the Christian folks, they've got to get rid of the baddies. Wow. And so they've set them all up and they're taking them down. And what are we doing? We're all applauding because the bad guys are, being taken care of and being locked up and killed and whatever. It had to be that way to get the support of the majority of the conservative Christian vote. And that's why, my testimony has been so urgent, is to tell people, don't be fooled by what appears to be the great solution. It's a trick.
Yeah, it is. It's a trick. It's a trick. Yeah, because you just got it. Those that know, yeah, we have a preference. We would rather it be a Christian value type and conservative side decision in government. but you can't trust them on either side. You can't trust government. They're all working for the same team, and it ain't our team.
No.
So the disclosure's coming. All these things are coming. They're saying it's going to start in March. As you're saying, you said earlier about the show, it just seems like there's more and more shows that are being predictive programming and just going there about alien invasions, asteroids coming, disaster, people having to go underground. I mean, it's just more and more and more of these shows are coming out, and we know, and I know you believe this, they are projecting. This is what they do, the predictive programming, trying to rapidly program our minds to get us ready for that. And then all of a sudden, I want to show this right here because staying on the Elon Musk thing and the space thing, there's this thing known as Oumuamua that came in to our solar system and in our orbit. And at first they thought it was an asteroid. Now there's people that speculate thinking it's some kind of craft, some kind of spy craft or something like that. I want to show this video. You sent me this video, and this is from Elon Musk. Starts it off, and then we're going to play a few seconds of this, and then I want you to tell me, in your opinion, is this also distraction, or do you think this is going to be something that is going to affect us? Let's watch this.
That you believe could possibly have been extraterrestrial.
Elon Musk just dropped a bombshell. Oumuamua, the mysterious interstellar object that puzzled scientists back in 2017, has returned. And it didn't come alone.
And this time, the usual follow-up measurements of position and speed showed something completely different.
This cigar-shaped visitor from another star system has left astrophysicists in complete shock.
It's kind of like a little jet engine on the surface. It just gives it a little thrust over time.
Scientists couldn't agree on what it was. As it cruises back into our solar system with a few companions, the questions are getting wilder daily. Is this a strange natural phenomenon, or could it be engineered from other worlds? Join us as we reveal the shocking details of one of the most mysterious discoveries in the history of space exploration. The second coming of Oumuamua. Elon Musk confirmed one of the most mysterious phenomena in modern astronomy, the return of Oumuamua. For those who haven't heard about it, Oumuamua was first discovered back in 2017. It all began when astronomers caught something strange moving through our solar system. No one could explain it, but they all agreed that it came from outside our solar system.
It was the very first object that visited our vicinity in the solar system from outside the solar system.
They eventually named our strange visitor Oumuamua, a Hawaiian name meaning scout or messenger from afar arriving first. But just as suddenly as it appeared, it was gone. It zipped past the sun and slingshotted away, leaving more questions than answers behind. Now it's back, but this time it didn't come alone.
All right, so I don't want to play all the video, but
Yeah.
okay, so your initial thoughts on that. What do you think's going on here?
Well, a number of things. First of all, it is an object between 250 to 400 feet in length. It's long, it's thin, and when it slingshotted around us, we could tell from its velocity that it was not from our solar system because its speed had to drive it on out to orbit the sun and go on out. You can tell by the speed. The speed tells you that it's not from around here, a natural phenomenon. And it left, and that was in 2017. For it to come back again means that it must have started to be trapped by our sun. But to come back in 8 years, attended by other smaller objects in a cluster, makes you wonder if it is an intelligent thing, because how else would it have collected a group of hangers-on to reappear with? Now, this may be part of the disclosure that's going to come shortly here about the aliens, are coming here to help us, and this is part of the distraction being given to us about, they're like in the movie V, they're aliens coming from another stellar system, and they're here to help us. And Elon Musk, I'll tell you what, I mean, he's at the forefront of so many things. I think he's been sponsored by the devil himself. I mean, Elon's a bright fellow, but he's not a God fellow. I mean,
right.
he's not a Christian. He's definitely not. And
No.
The success this guy has had, where's the money come from to fund SpaceX and to fund, Twitter purchase and to, fund all these things he's doing now then as far as Tesla and minerals collections and stuff, for the precious metals needed to make the batteries and things like. Where did he get all this money and this backing? I mean, it was from sources not made public. And I'm thinking that he's Satan's fair-haired boy at the moment, and keep an eye on him. I mean, he's way into AI, and in fact, I got a free test of his AI number 2, I think Grok 2, and I said, it said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "Anti-gravity. How do you do it?" And it came up with a report on me.
What?
Yeah.
Grok, when you ask how to do anti-gravity, it replied with you?
Yeah. Yep. It says, just if you got access to Grok, go in there and put in anti-gravity, how to do it, things like that.
Okay.
And
all right,
I was amazed.
Oh my goodness! All right, so we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it right here live. All right, so I'm gonna do Grok right here. So here we go. All right, so we got Grok going here. Now tell me what to say.
Put in there anti-gravity. How do you do it, or something like that?
Anti-gravity. How would you accomplish this and create it on your own? Let's see what happens. All right. Uh-oh, you don't like it. Something went wrong. Please try again. All right, let me do this. Right. Anti-gravity and standeo.
Well, if you do that, it's definitely going to give you that. But
okay, so we're going to do that, and then search a lot of different websites. Standeo, a figure often associated with claims about anti-gravity technology, advanced propulsion systems, and fringe science. He's a self-described physicist, blah, blah, blah. Who is Standeo? Look at this bio, y'all, that Grok gives you about Standeo. Oh, look at that. Do it yourself. It's even talking about how you can create your own anti-gravity. So I see what you're saying. It's using you. That's incredible. Now, when I get off the air, I'm going to really take a dive into Grok, because I've got the Grok 3 beta, because I'm on the beta.
Well, the beta Grok 3 now has images as well. It's not just text.
Wow. That's interesting. So Grok, the world's smartest AI, according to Elon Musk, says if you want to know about anti-gravity, you need to know about Standeo.
Yeah. Fascinating, isn't it?
That is fascinating. Wow, that's incredible. While you're going to the next screen, I want to ask you a question. And if the answer is they're not related, you don't think they're going to be related at all, then fine. But how is this increased activity with the sun, the electromagnetics things, and the EMPs and all that could come? How do you see that, and do you see that playing into this so-called alien narrative deception as well, that they take advantage of a natural cosmic, I should say, event that affects the world, the electronics of the world? Do you think they're going to try to capitalize on that to try to use that as, hey, we can fix this? Or do you think it's just going to be a part of the snowball that just creates chaos like crazy? And they come, and this is, we know that the sun is involved in Bible prophecy. We know that.
Yeah.
Are they going to try to take advantage of these events that are coming with the sun? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I agree with what you're proposing there, because Satan is no dummy, right? He has access to data and stuff that we would never know. But if he knows that this is fixing to throw out a blanket, a surface of the sun that's to peel off, blast out through our solar system, and make EMPs, that affect the Earth, he knows that lack of communication and power on the Earth is going to put the cat amongst the pigeons, because people will panic when power goes out, and from coronal mass ejections, and they'll be looking for someone to help them urgently. And
Right.
certainly this would be an urgent situation, and people would say, okay, can you fix us? Can you bring power back?
Yeah.
And can you shield us from further stuff? Yeah, sure. No
Which is
problem.
what you and I talk about the show V all the time, which is what they bring. They bring blue energy. They bring this free energy. This a bit where
Absolutely.
that hey, we've got an answer. It doesn't affect the environment. It's gonna heal that.
And the project that I worked on, what I'm telling you now, is the blue energy is gravity wave converters. You can make
Wow.
local gravitic fields and pull electricity out of the gravitational field of the Earth or wherever you are. It's available everywhere. And so if you have one of their gravity wave converters, you have power for your home, your city, whatever. Just sign the dotted line.
Wow. Is that also, I know that's your thing. You've been doing that for a while. You've got your own inventions when it comes to that. That's why you're so tied to that. But you've been doing that for decades. But was that also what Tesla was messing with as well? Or was his Tesla power something else?
His was something else. It was
Okay.
using the shock waves created in our electric field of the planet from solar wind, and he was
Okay.
using it trapping a certain type of electromagnetic frequencies. We've Tim and I, my former partner, we built an antenna system out the back to try to mimic what he was talking about, and it was converting physical vibrations of our electromagnetic field, our electrostatic fields, even from solar wind. It varied all, day and night. The power from it would be about 40%. It would be about 25% less at night on the dark side of the planet, but it was definitely tied to the sun. His was not a gravity wave converter. A gravity wave converter works day and night wherever you are, and you just tune it for the host gravitic field, whether it be a stellar one, a galactic one, the whole universe. All the gravity in the universe operates on spinning vortices that send out shock waves that close on themselves. It just spins like that, and so the universe is winding down. All the
Yeah.
stars, the galaxies, they're slowing down, and as they do, they throw off shells of energy, mainly infrared in the final analysis. But it's like the Bible says: there will be a passing of our universe in a great fervent heat, and a new Earth and a new universe
It's
will
amazing.
replace it. But we're watching that now. It's about to happen. So yeah, the sun does play a part in that. I want to show you. Sorry.
Yes. Go ahead and pull that up. And while you're pulling that up, I'm going to throw it up there. But I'm going to ask you a question, and I did not pre-approve this question. So if you don't want to comment, then you just say no comment. But curious minds want to know, Stan Deyo, this great invention and this knowledge that you have about the anti-gravity and the gravity-free energy. Do you feel comfortable answering this question? If you don't, I'll even edit this out. I want to go ahead and say it to you right now. Did that come completely from your mind, or from your past experience in your world that you lived in? Did you see something? Did you learn something that is not of this world that sort of helped you push you in that direction?
Yeah, yeah. I had dream visions about a lot of things on this, and that was, as I was working in the Teller project. By the way, if you ask your Grok, your AI program, about Edward Teller and a secret research project in Australia, anti-gravity, alien UFOs, you'll find it's amazingly not aware of anything like that. You know,
Wow.
it tells about a number of other things about Teller, but it won't mention the project in Australia.
Is Teller the one? Is the Teller you're talking about the same Teller that was tied to Oppenheimer? Is that a different Teller?
Yeah.
It's
Oh
the
no, it's
same
the same
guy.
one.
Same
The
one.
father of the
Okay.
hydrogen bomb.
Yeah.
And
So the father of the hydrogen bomb was one of your mentors.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And in Russia, Andrei Sakharov was his equal. The Russians kept him in house arrest because of what he knew about all this. But if you look in Grok, ask Grok about the connection between Andrei Sakharov and Dr. Edward Teller.
Okay.
There were many others, but these are the two prominent ones. prominent ones. Yeah. Anyway, I tried to ask it a few questions about people I knew were involved in all this, and it's amazingly dumb.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it censors what it tells you.
Well, I just put it in there. I misspelled it, but it's funny. It said
it's SAK Harav.
Oh, if it fixed it. He said, I assume you meant Sakharov and Teller connection, like a typo from Andrea Sakharov and Edward Teller. The two physicists are historically linked through the pivotal roles in developing thermonuclear weapons, the hydrogen bomb during the Cold War. And then it just goes on to talk about the Cold War, the contrasting paths. Stan Deo's angle. What? There you are in the middle of it. Oh, they even put your name in it. It says Stan Deo's angle trying from your earlier question. Okay. All right. So it knew that I was talking about you. So it's continuing the conversation with Stan Deo in mind. This is crazy, y'all. I'm about to I'm about to do a Grok deep dive on Stan Deo and anti-gravity.
And in Australia, you can listen back to this later and chase this name. Sir John P. Williams was my control agent there, and he was my control for the Teller project. Look up Edward Teller and Lang Hancock in West Australia, because Teller came down for Lang's birthday. He flew down. Let's see what else. Anyway, that should give you enough to start weeding.
Well, so I'm gonna go back and get this information, watch the video, and get this information, and that's going to be a fun. And this is also a fun assignment for the big picture audience, y'all. Take all this stuff that you just heard Stan say and go out there and go down this rabbit hole.
How much time we got left here?
Just go ahead, take your time.
Okay. Kash Patel is now going to clean out the FBI. In 1970-71, I was working for them as one of about 700 recruited spies for the FBI in industry. And so I was involved in that, and I discovered a conflict between the deep state, if you wish, and J. Edgar Hoover. The FBI was divided in loyalty. And I discovered, and pinned the DC area director, not Hoover, but the DC area regional director, came to Dallas with Murray Schottler and some other people on a helicopter. And when I reported this to my agent, there were two of them, one national, one international. They panicked because I passed the message through the operator because they weren't in their office. And I had identified this guy breaking the rules, this area director, by coming in without telling the local branch. It identified that half of the conspiracy against J. Edgar Hoover. And, not long after that was when I was scheduled to join the anti-gravity program and go down to Australia. And they said, that's a great place for you to be. And once you get there, if you get there alive, if J. Edgar Hoover dies, then you're on your own. You can't come back. And within a year, he died of a heart attack in his sleep.
Wow.
So there's another little involvement conspiracy. I was looking
at this. We're going to delve into that the next time. The next time we're just going to go there. We're going to break down the whole reason, because we've never really covered in detail. And I know you do in your book, and you've shared it in other places, but on the big picture, we've never really shared about that, what you just said about, why you got stuck in, why you got locked down in Australia and all this, and the miracles of what it took to get you reinstated, to get your passport back and all that to come back. So, and I want to make sure that I ask you the question that everybody always asks you, and that is, what is going on with the sun? What is going on with our solar system? Because you are a student of the sun and things that are happening, because that is going to be directly tied to end times. So when you're ready, I want to put that image up. Are you ready now?
I want to share
that's
okay for that one. Yeah,
okay.
We'll do that one first.
Okay.
This is showing the total sunspots that appeared on the sun for 2024, which was supposed to be approaching the apex, the midpoint of the solar sunspot activity for 2025, or the 25th solar cycle. Now, the red bars show the sunspots in the southern hemisphere. The green are in the north, and the southern hemisphere is really, you can see from the red bars, has been very active in producing sunspot regions. And we thought that that we would have a peak late 2024 and into 2025. But it looks like that there's going to be a double peak, which has happened before. In 1960, there was a rather interesting one. In 1990, in fact, let me see how I. Okay, I need to share here. Let me see how I'll stop sharing that and share another one here. Spaceweather.com. Turn off that, and here we go. Yeah. Okay. Now this is spaceweather.com. I use it every day, and it says Solar Max is a second peak coming. And you look down at that graph there.
Wow.
Okay. I don't know that we can enlarge that, but you'll see that there's a southern hemisphere spike coming, and this tells you that, well, gosh, surprise, surprise, the shifting of the poles, the north and south flipping of the poles, which occurs every 11.5 years, is widely separated. Look at 2024. You see the southern hemisphere sunspot activity peaking here, and the green was, probably a year or two ahead of that. So in between the time, you had two north poles on the sun.
Wow.
Or 2000. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you look at since 1970, it started to be weighted toward the southern hemisphere being very active, all the red slopes. And there was a wider, not so high, but a wider period of time where the southern hemisphere sunspots were taking place here in 2024, or sorry, the 24 cycle. Now then, we're seeing a small area because we're right in the middle of it, but it might go up higher even than we were in 2000 in that cycle, in the 23rd cycle. So look at that and look across like this.
Yeah.
There have been bigger times, but not so widely disparate that we're seeing here. The delay, it says here, is called the Nevishev gap, which is the unexplainable but obviously observable distance time-wise between the North Pole shifting on the sun to the South Pole, and it can be up to 2 years, and that's the Nevishev gap. Okay, now let's see here. We're there. Can I, if I do this, can you see? You can't see that, can you? Okay, you're back to here. Okay, I'm going to have to stop sharing and pull up another screen here. Let me just get it up here.
And tell me when.
Okay, stopping. Going to a new one now, which would be that one, I think. Yes, okay. Turn off that. Link in. Okay. Now, this is current as of today, looking at the sunspot activities on the sun. And you'll notice that across here is physically, you're looking at the physical equator of the sun, but the sunspot regions are tilted. You see them here in this wedge.
Yeah.
Okay. And in the kind of northern area here where these sunspots are occurring, the blue and the orange are opposite poles, magnetic fields of these sunspot regions. In the northern hemisphere now, you have blue poles preceding red poles. But what? This one here is now halfway the other way, red preceding blue. When you get these kind of opposite polarities in the hemispheres, opposite what they're supposed to be, it forms what they call a delta gamma magnetic field, which produces super flares. Look down in the sort of south pole here. Red precedes blue. Red precedes blue. Okay. Now, back over here, we don't know whether we're going to have blue preceding red as this comes around in the next 5 days. But these areas here, if you look at these two, red precedes blue, the blue is actually preceding red if you look at it, tightly in this spot right here.
Yeah.
So that's pointing at us right now. And they're saying that they've been able to figure out that there's going to be a lot of like flare activity in the C and M and some X class preceding a super coronal mass ejection. They've found out that these flares precede coronal mass ejections. All right, now I'm going to stop sharing that.
Okay.
And I want to go over to this one here, which is solar. And Okay, now this is a well, every day it comes up with a new graph showing the polarity, magnetic polarity of the sun and where it is. Now the green is one pole and the purple is the other, and in between are these white lines connecting various parts of the surface of the sun's magnetic field to others. Now, this up here is, let's say, the north pole of the sun as we were looking at it physically. And what do you see? Maybe the purple is moving in, but it's not there yet. It's over
No.
here on the
Right.
side.
Right.
Okay, that's
Yep.
that's making that cantilevered V shape in the rotation of the surface of the sun. And the southern pole down here should be having something. So what's it going to be? Is it going to be purple? Or is it going to be green? These are going crosswise almost to the sun. See all this? This is
Yeah.
just incredible.
Wow.
Now look at here what we're looking at. So this is what we're looking at direct here. A quasi pole over here and a quasi pole back there, pulling on the surface of the sun and causing that area in between those two poles to thin and allow magnetic eruptions. All right, so we'll stop sharing for a moment here. Stop sharing.
By the way, go back and look at every conspiracy theory over the last 50, 60 years, and you could probably find Stan Deyo tied to it somehow. You've had your hands in it all, brother. That's amazing. Well, left. I want to put this up here, and let's talk about this.
Yeah. Okay, this is the last 48 hours on the sun looking in the visible hydrogen spectrum here. Of course, it's rotating this way. Now, I'm pointing this area. I want you to watch that area. It's already past us, but these flares are reaching out like, probably 20, 30 times the diameter of Earth. Wow. I'm going to run this back here. You can see here toward the end, this will appear. Let's just look at 48 hours.
Okay. So we're watching 48 hours time lapse.
Yep. Okay. And watch the right side of the screen. There's a lot of activity there. Oh, and there was one in the lower left too.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming up to the flare in the upper right-hand corner about now.
Wow. That was massive.
It was. And notice again how this is a tilted V of activity. Mm-hmm. Normally, because the sun is a plasma, it's kind of like a fluid, it turns faster down here at the equator because of the diameter and spin, and slower at the polar regions. Normally, it takes about 31 to 32 days for a spot up here to go around one full 360. Down here at the normal middle point, it takes about 28 days for it to make a circumnavigation like that. And so the difference in these two spin rates form vortices in the plasma of the surface of the sun. And these, of course, give rise to solar flares, solar flare regions, and they convect energy from down inside the sun up to the surface like this to create these flares and solar sunspot groupings. I watch these things. I've seen bigger flares than this one here. Let me just stop that. Okay. And back it up just a bit. There you can see it in, like it's slow motion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to show you that one? Oh, well, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, there's one other one I got to show you too.
Okay.
All right. Just give me a second. I'm switching over to that one and turn the sound off and share. Okay. This is just in a different wavelength coming from the sun. And it's a very hot wavelength, hotter than that orange-looking thing you saw. And here's the V again. And notice this particular sunspot region is really connected all over the place. It's throwing out arms over to here, over to there, down here. And remember, these arms are pulling in the surface of the sun toward the center of this grooving right here. They're all interacting. So if it's not happening in the next few days, then certainly within the next 14 days, we should see this coming around over here. And, we could see some violent activity from the sun. Just keeping you up to date. Keep an eye on those things.
But wow, by the next time we have you on here, Stan, there's no telling what the world's going to have already done. So it's crazy times. And when you got crazy times, that's why it's so good to be connected to you, Stan. We appreciate your contribution, your lifetime contribution to humanity, to everything. And you're not through. God is far from through with Standeo, and you still got a lot of work to do, and we appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right.
You guys take care. May the Lord bless you. And Sandy heal her wounds.
Thank you. And she's battling a lot, and she's like, it killed her that she couldn't come in here and talk to you today, but she loves you so much, and we're going to get her back on here next time that you're on. My goal is to have her on here with us too, because she's your number one fan.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, Stan. God bless you and Holly.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. I hear her. Come here. Hurry. Uh-oh, you're on the air. Come here. Okay, just say something to him. He's right here. All right.
Hey, Stan, I love you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, you get well, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Hey, by the way, guys, we lost our little office dog, Bella. She died about 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, no. Oh.
However, we have replaced her now with a new little Texas Blue Heeler, a Texas Heeler.
Oh,
and
wow.
she's 4 months old, and what a package. Smart as a whip.
That is amazing. Well, all right, I'm gonna get off the air here, but don't go anywhere because I want to talk to you off the air just a second. All right. So God bless you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for everybody joining us here on The Big Picture. We appreciate everything. Man, what a show this has been. You're gonna want to go back and dig and watch again everything that you've seen. Don't forget your assignment on Grok to go out there and study on Standeo tonight. It is going. That's what I'm about to do right now. It's amazing. So all I can tell you is we ain't woke, but we certainly are awake, and we'll see you next time on The Big Picture. Come on, somebody. This has been amazing.
Would you like to help us build the Big Picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.